Hey, how's it going, everybody? If you're new here, welcome in, and if you've been here before, smash the like button on the way in. I'm Rollshambo, the connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny, and in my hands is a sleek new offering from our friends over at North Mountain Blade. Big a shout out to them for reaching out and sending this my way, because this is so cool. North Mountain Blade is easily one of my favorite newer knife companies to hit the scenes in recent history, and they've been doing an absolutely killer job on their offerings, coming out with new designs and also staying true to some classic design language, which I find inherently beautiful, but also very performance oriented. This sleek beauty right here is the brand new Kaiken, and they have come out with a Kaiken before, but that was the premium model. This is the model with SLD magic and the G10 handle scales. They also have different versions of this, which also include a red G10 with a basket weave carbon fiber, which I think looks pretty dang sweet. They all look pretty sweet, guys, and I'm so impressed with this knife. We're gonna talk about why, but first you might be wondering, okay, that's cool, but what's the damage? How much of my hard-earned dollars do I have to sacrifice to get in on another North Mountain Blade banger? This guy comes in at $120. The good news is that I have a discount code which you can use to take 10% off your purchase. That code is RSB10. That drops this knife down to $108. And what do you get for your money? Well, it's a full-size knife coming in at 8 inches overall with a 3.5-inch blade made of SLD magic. Now, this is hot forged in Japan. The blade specifically is hot forged in Japan by hand, and that's a Sanmai blade. It's beautiful because we have this tougher steel that's sandwiched around this harder steel, and it allows for you to get the best of both worlds. You have a really, really tough blade that is also going to be hard and very, very slicey. It's going to hold an edge for a very long time. They heat treat these to 61 Rockwell, which is perfect for SLD magic. And then, of course, because this is hand forged, you also get these beautiful wavy lines in the blade. That's not laser etching, guys. That is hand forged goodness. Now, if you're wondering, what is Kaiken? What is Kaiken? Well, Kaiken is the modern day spelling and pronunciation of the word Quaken or Quaiken, and it refers to the fourth sword of the samurai. The samurai would carry the katana, they'd carry the wakizashi, the tanto, and then the smallest blade was the Quaiken, or in this case, the Kaiken. And it's beautiful. It definitely shows its Japanese heritage in full. And not only is it beautiful, but it's also very performance oriented. This is a very sharp and slicey blade. Here's a piece of scrap cardboard just to give you a taste. Like nothing. I know, it's not much of a cut test. I'm running out of scrap cardboard here in Rollshambo Studios, but my point is that it's not just for looks. It's not just a knife that you throw in your collection. And the beauty of using G10 instead of the titanium version, which they also have available, is that it's going to make it more carry friendly. The ergos in hand feel fantastic, and the action is really good. Now, the action does take a little bit of breaking in, and something that I did notice during the break-in process was there was a moment where it went from being smooth to all of a sudden feeling a little bit gritty. And what that is the ceramic detent ball in that liner lock wearing a path. No biggie. Usually when I felt that before in other knives, I just take the knife apart, and it's not too terribly hard. We've got a T8 pivot, and we have T6 pocket clip screws and T6 screws on this filler tab. You pop those off, and then there's a couple screws in the liner as well, and you just wipe it clean. You know, you oil the detent ball path, maybe you rub a little bit of oil on your fingers and, you know, hit up those ball bearings. Long story short, this is extremely smooth after doing that, and the action is nice and fall shut. It feels glassy. It's not a straight guillotine because this does not have a very thick blade profile. It's rather thin, but that lends to its cutting ability at the same time. The liner lock is going to be locking up there. I would say that's about 35%, maybe 40%. It's got plenty of access here with this nice milling right there, so it's not hard to get your thumb in, and it will drop shut when you release that liner, and then the rest of it is just a very, very smooth operation. I'm not generally huge on front flipper only knives, generally speaking, but they are growing on me, and this one is excellent. The access to that front flipper showcases jimping all the way up to the tip, meaning that you're going to be able to get plenty of leverage there to get it to snap out, and it's going to feel good in the hands. Reverse grip feels good, regular grip feels good. It's not telling your fingers, oh, you got to put your hand here, or it's not going to be
respect my authority.
No, there's none of that. It's a simple yet beautiful design, and they did a really good job bringing back a Japanese classic, but in folding knife format. Those of you who enjoy not just looking at your knives or playing with your knives, but also using them, are really going to enjoy this because that Sanmai is very performance oriented. SLD Magic is a Hitachi steel from Japan, and it performs admirably. I have several knives in SLD Magic, and I can tell you that it performs really well. It holds an edge decently well, and North Mountain Blades has done a phenomenal job yet again bringing an excellent EDC knife to market. But that doesn't necessarily mean that this knife is without faults, and I'm just going to list them very quickly because there's really not that many to list. The first is going to be the excess of T6 screws. Now on the outside you can see T6 on the pocket clip, you can see T6 on the filler tab, but when you pop these G10 scales off, what you'll notice is that there are more T6 body screws attached to these shadow box liners on the inside. I'm not a huge fan of having to switch between T8 and T6, and T6 screws just tend to strip more frequently and more often. The second is going to be the lack of a backspacer. I do think that a backspacer would go really well on here, and it would help protect the efficacy, that's a good word, the efficacy of this really well done factory edge from crap that's in your pockets. That's why I like backspacers. This knife is not horribly overweight. It's not too thick and chunky that they couldn't have added a backspacer. In fact, this comes in at about 4 ounces, which for a full-size 8-inch knife is not that bad. We could have added an aluminum backspacer right here, and that would honestly be my preference. Now, is that a negative? No, but it is a design suggestion, and it's one that I think that would both aid in making the ergos even better than they already are, while also adding some utility of protecting the edge of the blade. And then lastly, I would get rid of the lanyard hole at the end. It pokes through the scales. It adds an extra, I guess you could say it adds some weight reduction, but honestly, I would prefer a cleaner aesthetic with absolutely no lanyard hole. But if they wanted to add one, they could simply switch to a backspacer and have a hitted lanyard post inside the backspacer for those few who really do enjoy adding lanyards to their knives. Overall, I'm very impressed with this knife, and I'm thinking about getting another one myself in the red G10 and carbon fiber because I think it looks absolutely fantastic. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below, guys. What do you think of the brand new North Mountain Blade Kaiken? Is this one that you could see popping in your pocket, or is it going to be a pass for you guys? If you enjoyed the video up to this point and you haven't done so yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button up in the corner here in a second. But if you just want to watch some more awesome knife and EDC content, go ahead and click on one of the videos that pops up next.